My 6-year-old daughter found blood in her baby cousin's diaper. Then she found the bruises. We called 911 within minutes. You want to know how a pediatric surgeon could abuse his own infant daughter for months without anyone noticing, Captain Mitchell? How a mother could know and stay silent? Everyone thinks this story is about a child's sharp eyes catching what adults missed. But that's not where this fire started. The real fire started 2 months earlier. The day Valerie's husband decided that a crying baby was ruining his perfect life, and silencing her was worth any cost. If you've ever seen someone you love trapped in a nightmare they can't escape, you'll understand this story. Subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. My name is Claire Fowler. I'm 34 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my 6-year-old daughter saved a baby's life. It started on a Saturday morning in early fall, one of those perfect mornings where everything feels right with the world. I was making pancakes in our kitchen. The smell of butter and maple syrup filled the house. My husband, Wayne, sat at the table with our daughter, Nina, drinking coffee and reading the news on his phone. Nina was 6 years old. Long brown hair and pigtails, big, curious eyes, the gentlest heart you've ever seen. She loved taking care of things. Stuffed animals, the neighbor's cat, younger kids at school. If someone was crying, Nina would be the first one there trying to help. That morning, she was talking about her baby cousin. "Mommy, can I see baby Emma today?" Nina asked. She was carefully pouring syrup on her pancakes with her small hands. Emma was my sister Valerie's daughter, born just 2 months ago, Nina's first cousin. "We don't have any special plans today," I said. "But I think Aunt Valerie is probably busy." "What do babies do every day?" Nina asked. Wayne smiled. "They cry, drink milk, sleep, and get their diapers changed. Then they do it all over again." "I was like that?" Nina looked surprised. "Exactly like that," I said. "But look at you now, such a big girl." Nina puffed out her chest proudly. "I can take care of babies. You taught me, Mommy. I can change diapers and give them bottles." I felt warm inside. My daughter had such a caring spirit. Even at kindergarten, the teachers always told us how Nina would comfort other kids who were upset. Just then, my phone rang. Valerie's name on the screen. "Good morning, Val," I answered. "Morning." My sister's voice sounded tired, strained. "Claire, I have a favor to ask. Could you watch Emma this afternoon? I finally got a hair appointment. I haven't had any time for myself in 2 months." I looked at Wayne. He shrugged and smiled, nodded. Nina heard Emma and her whole face lit up. "Of course," I said. "What time?" "I'll come around 2 and pick her up around 5. Thank you so much. Ethan is on call at the hospital again today, and taking care of her alone is getting overwhelming." Ethan was Valerie's husband, Dr. Ethan Kent, pediatric surgeon at Riverside Medical Center. Always busy, always important, always perfect. Or so everyone thought. "It's no problem," I said. "We're looking forward to it. Nina's been wanting to see Emma." After I hung up, Nina jumped from her chair. "Yay! Baby Emma is coming! I'll help!" Wayne patted her head gently. "Nina, babies are very small and delicate. You have to handle them carefully, but I'm sure you'll be wonderful." I started preparing for the afternoon, getting out the changing mat, making sure we had space in the living room, setting up a safe area. Valerie had seemed more stressed lately, more tired, more withdrawn. Before Emma was born, my sister was vibrant. She'd worked as a bank manager, smart, confident, independent. But after she married Ethan, things changed. She quit her job. "Ethan thinks it's better if I focus on the home," she'd said. She stopped seeing friends as much. "Ethan's schedule is so unpredictable. It's hard to make plans." She tried so hard to be perfect. The perfect wife for a surgeon, the perfect mother, the perfect hostess. but she looked exhausted, worn down. I'd asked her a few times if everything was okay. "Just tired from the baby," she'd say. "You remember how it is." But something felt off. I couldn't name it, couldn't put my finger on it. I just knew my sister wasn't herself anymore. At exactly 2 o'clock, Valerie's car pulled into our driveway. Nina and I were waiting at the door. Nina was bouncing up and down with excitement. When Valerie got out of the car, I saw the changes immediately. Dark circles under her eyes, a forced smile that didn't reach those eyes, hair pulled back in a messy bun, even though she was about to go to the salon. She'd lost weight. Too much weight. "Val," I hugged her. "You look exhausted. How are you really doing?" "Every day just flies by," she said. Her laugh was hollow. "Lily is adorable, but with the nighttime feedings, I'm sleep-deprived. And Ethan is so busy at the hospital that he can't help much." She lifted the baby carrier from the back seat. Her hands were shaking slightly. Nina stood on her tiptoes to peek inside. "Wow, baby Emma is so tiny." Emma was wrapped in a pink blanket, sleeping peacefully, long eyelashes closed, tiny fist near her cheek. She looked like a perfect little angel. "Look quietly, Nina," I said gently. "Babies are sensitive to sounds." We went inside. Valerie set a large diaper bag on the sofa and started explaining. 3 bottles of formula in here. Warm them in the microwave for about 30 seconds. Diapers are size 1. Plenty of wipes. She last ate around noon, so she'll probably want milk around 2:30. Wayne came out from the kitchen. "Val, why don't you sit down for a minute? Have some coffee before you go?" "I have an appointment," Valerie said quickly. Too quickly. "Besides, if I stay too long, Emma might start crying for me." She looked nervous, like she was afraid to stay, afraid to linger. Nina sat right next to the baby carrier, like a little guardian watching over her cousin. "I'll keep watching her, Mommy. I'll tell you if she cries." I was impressed by Nina's sense of responsibility. "That's very kind, sweetheart, but remember, adults need to handle some things with babies, so call us right away if anything happens." Valerie gave final instructions. "If she cries, check her diaper first, then see if she's hungry. She's usually pretty calm between feedings." "Don't worry," I said. "I've done this before, and I'll call you immediately if anything comes up. Just relax and enjoy some time for yourself." Valerie looked at Emma, bent down and kissed her forehead gently. "Mommy's going out for a little while, but I'll be back soon. Be good with Auntie Claire and Nina." There were tears in Valerie's eyes. I thought it was just normal mom separation anxiety. Now I know it was something else. Fear. After Valerie left, we gathered in the living room. Emma slept peacefully in her carrier. "Daddy, why are babies so small?" Nina asked. Wayne sat next to her. "Babies have just been born, so they're still very small. You were about this size when you were first born too, but you grew bigger every day by drinking milk, sleeping a lot, and receiving lots of love." "I was really that small?" Nina looked amazed. I pulled out photo albums, showed Nina pictures from when she was a newborn. "Look, this is you when you were born. Daddy and I were so happy just looking at you." Nina studied the photos, compared them to Emma. I was as cute as baby Emma. Around 3:30, Emma woke up, started with a small yawn. Then her eyes opened. She looked around, confused by the unfamiliar environment. Then she started crying. "Oh, she's awake!" Nina jumped up. "Can I hold her?" "Let me pick her up first," I said. I carefully lifted Emma from the carrier. "Hello, baby Emma. It's Auntie Claire. Remember me?" Emma stopped crying for a moment, stared at my face with that mysterious newborn expression, like she was trying to understand where she was. "Let's check her diaper," I said. "Nina, can you get the changing mat?" Nina eagerly pulled out the mat and laid it on the sofa. "Mommy, I'll help. I practice with my doll, so I know how to do it." I smiled at her enthusiasm. "First, we prepare a new diaper, then get the wipes, and we always keep one hand on the baby because they can move suddenly." Wayne watched and took pictures with his phone. "Nina, you really are a wonderful big sister. Baby Emma is lucky to have you here." We changed Emma's diaper. She calmed down afterward. I warmed a bottle and we fed her together. For the next hour, everything was peaceful. We sat on the sofa, taking turns holding Emma. Nina was so gentle, so careful. It felt like one of those perfect family moments, the kind you want to last forever. Around 4:15, Emma started crying again. At first, it was modest, gentle fussing. Then it got louder, more intense. "Oh, baby Emma is crying," Nina said. "I wonder what's wrong." I picked Emma up and gently rocked her. She just had milk, so it's probably her diaper. But the crying kept getting worse, louder, more desperate. "Let me check the diaper," Nina said confidently. "Okay, sweetheart, let's do it together." Wayne brought fresh coffee into the room. "Everything okay?" "Just a diaper check," I said. We laid Emma on the changing mat. Nina stood right beside me, ready to help. I opened the diaper, and my whole world stopped. Instead of normal baby waste, I saw something that made my blood turn to ice. There was blood. Pale pink blood mixed with urine, and some kind of discharge that shouldn't be there. "Mommy, look," Nina said. Her voice was a mix of confusion and concern. "Something strange. Is that blood?" My hands started shaking. I looked closer, and then I saw it. On the inside of Emma's thigh, a bruise, purple and yellow, the exact shape and size of an adult's fingertip, like someone had gripped her. Hard. Too hard. My stomach dropped. "Wayne." My voice came out strangled, barely a whisper. "Wayne, get in here, right now." The tone of my voice made him move fast. He set down his coffee and came over. "What's wrong?" I couldn't speak. I just pointed. Wayne looked. His face went pale. All the color drained away. As a high school teacher, Wayne had training in recognizing signs of abuse. He'd taken courses. He knew what to look for. "This is..." His voice trailed off. He looked at me. His eyes were hard, angry. Someone did this to this child. Nina was still standing there, watching, sensing that something was very wrong. Wayne quickly took her hand. "Nina, you did something very important today. You noticed something that needed adult attention. Right now, we need to help baby Emma, so could you go to your room for a little while?" "But I want to help too," Nina said. Her voice got tearful. "Nina, this is something adults need to handle," Wayne said gently. He picked her up. "You go watch TV in your room. We'll be right there, okay? You're not in trouble. You did everything right." Nina nodded slowly. Wayne carried her out. I was alone with Emma, still crying, still in pain. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone, took photographs. Evidence. I had to document this. Tears streamed down my face. How? How could this happen? I carefully put a fresh diaper on Emma. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely fasten it. "It's okay, Emma," I whispered. "You're safe now. Auntie will protect you. I promise." Wayne came back. His jaw was set. His expression was determined. "Claire, I'm calling 911, right now. This is clearly abuse." "But Ethan," I started. "He's a surgeon. He's a pediatric surgeon. Surely he wouldn't. Because he's a surgeon, he knows exactly how to hurt someone without leaving obvious marks, Wayne said. His voice was cold with rage. And this time, he couldn't hide it completely. He pulled out his phone, dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? Possible child abuse, Wayne said. His voice was clear, steady. A 2-month-old infant with obvious signs of physical abuse. We need medical teams and police immediately. He gave our address, explained what we'd found. I held Emma close, rocked her gently. She was still crying, but quieter now. Did Valerie know? I whispered. We can't think about that right now, Wayne said. He came over and put his hand on my shoulder. What matters is that Nina noticed. If she hadn't been here, if she hadn't been helping with the diaper change, this child's suffering might have continued much longer. In the distance, I heard sirens. They were coming. Emma was going to be safe. Within minutes, our quiet street was transformed. Paramedics rushed in, police officers, flashing lights everywhere. A female police officer approached me. Older, experienced, kind eyes. Ma'am, I'm Officer Martinez. Can you explain what happened? I told her everything. How Nina was helping with the diaper change, how she noticed the blood, how I found the bruising. A paramedic knelt beside us, examined Emma carefully. This is clearly trauma from external force, he said quietly. His name tag read Stevens. Immediate detailed examination at a hospital is necessary. Did you take photographs? Officer Martinez asked. Yes. I held out my phone with shaking hands. I thought I should preserve evidence. She looked through the photos. Her expression grew harder with each one. You did exactly the right thing. She made eye contact with her partner, nodded. I'm contacting Child Protective Services. I'll need contact information for this baby's parents. Wayne provided everything. Valerie's cell number, Ethan's workplace at Riverside Medical Center. My sister should be at a hair salon, I said. Her husband is a pediatric surgeon. He was supposed to be on call today. Officer Martinez wrote everything down. In the ambulance, paramedic Stevens measured Emma's vital signs while talking to me. Your daughter's observation skills were remarkable. If this condition had continued, this child's life could have been at risk. Nina was taken to her grandmother's house. We didn't want her to see more of this. Wayne and I rode with Emma to the hospital. At the emergency room, a doctor named Patricia Cole examined Emma thoroughly. After 20 minutes, she came out. Her face was grave. These are unmistakably signs of abuse, Dr. Cole said quietly. There's also internal damage. This suggests ongoing abuse, not a single incident. I collapsed into a chair. Wayne punched the wall. How could we not have noticed? How could we miss this? Dr. Cole put her hand on his arm. When the abuser has medical knowledge and authority, discovery is extremely difficult. What matters is that you discovered it today. You saved this child. Around 5 o'clock, Valerie rushed in. Her hair was freshly styled, blow-dried and curled, but her face was pale, terrified. She tried to go into the treatment room, but Officer Martinez stopped her. You're Valerie Kent, correct? We need to speak with you. What happened to Emma? Valerie's voice shook. I stepped forward. Val, do you really not know? Emma had signs of abuse. Valerie shook her head violently. That's impossible. Ethan is gentle. As a doctor, he would never hurt a baby. He saves children. That's his job. But her voice trembled. Her eyes wouldn't meet mine. Val, I said quietly, tell me the truth. Did you know? She looked away. Around 6 o'clock, Ethan arrived. Dr. Ethan Kent, tall, authoritative, white coat over his scrubs, that calm, confident expression that made everyone trust him. This is a misunderstanding, he said smoothly. As a pediatric surgeon, I'm in a position to protect children's health and safety. Being suspected of such things is not only insulting, it's absurd. He used medical terminology, made everything sound reasonable, scientific. Newborns have extremely thin skin. They can bruise easily from minor irritation. Any experienced physician would tell you that. He was so convincing, so calm, so rational. For a moment, I almost believed him. Then Officer Martinez pulled out a tablet. "Dr. Kent, we spoke with your niece earlier, Nina Fowler, age 6. We recorded her statement. Would you like to hear it?" She pressed play. Nina's voice filled the room. Small, scared, but honest. "When I went to baby Emma's house before, the baby was crying. Uncle Ethan said, 'That's annoying,' and held her really tight. It was when Mommy wasn't looking. I was scared and couldn't say anything." Ethan's face went hard. The mask slipped, just for a second, but I saw it, the cold anger underneath. Valerie started crying, quiet sobs. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." "Jennifer, what are you—" Ethan started. "No!" Valerie shouted. Her voice echoed in the hallway. "No more! I can't do this anymore!" She rolled up her sleeves. Bruises, old ones, yellow and green, fading but still visible. "You hurt me too," she said, tears streaming down her face. "You told me I had to be the perfect surgeon's wife, perfect house, perfect meals, perfect mother. And when I wasn't perfect, you punished me." Officer Martinez stepped forward. "Ma'am, are you saying—" "Since Emma was born, he changed," Valerie said. The words tumbled out fast now, like a dam breaking. "Every time she cried at night, he got angry, said she was ruining his sleep, ruining his performance at work. When I tried to stop him, he hit me, threatened to take Emma away, said no one would believe me over a pediatric surgeon." Officer Martinez looked at her partner, nodded. "Dr. Ethan Kent, you're under arrest on suspicion of child abuse and domestic violence." Ethan's calm shattered. "This is ridiculous. Jennifer is suffering from postpartum depression. She's confused. She doesn't know what she's saying." "Ma'am," Officer Martinez said to Valerie, "are you clear-minded right now? Do you understand what you're telling us?" "Yes," Valerie said. Her voice was stronger now. "I've been documenting everything, taking photos, keeping records. I have proof hidden at home." But as they moved toward Ethan to place him in custody, Officer Martinez's radio crackled. "Unit 7, we have a structure fire at 428 Maple Grove Drive. Repeat, structure fire at the Kent residence. Possible arson." Everyone froze. "That's our house," Valerie whispered. Her face went white. "That's where I hid everything, all the evidence." Ethan's expression flickered, just for a moment, a flash of satisfaction. Then he caught himself, put the concerned mask back on. But I saw it. We all saw it. "Officers, I need to go check on my home," Ethan said smoothly. "This is obviously a terrible coincidence, but—" "You're not going anywhere," Officer Martinez said. She grabbed his arm. To her partner, "Call it in. Possible evidence destruction." We all rushed to the parking lot. Squad cars, Wayne and me in our car, following the police. The drive took 7 minutes. It felt like hours. When we turned onto Maple Grove Drive, I could see smoke. Black smoke rising into the evening sky. Valerie's house, Ethan's house, was on fire. Flames were visible in the upstairs windows, right side of the house, the home office. Fire trucks were already there. Firefighters pulling hoses, moving fast. Valerie jumped out of the police car before it fully stopped. No, the documents! They're in the office!" She ran toward the house. A firefighter caught her, held her back. "Ma'am, you can't go in there." "You don't understand!" Valerie was screaming now, desperate. "There's evidence in there! Proof of what he did! If it burns, no one will believe me. Another firefighter approached. Older, calm. He pulled off his helmet. Ma'am, I'm Captain Mitchell. I need you to step back. My crew is handling this. Please, Valerie begged. Second floor, home office. There's a safe. A small, fireproof safe behind the desk. It has everything. Photos, medical records, everything I've been documenting for months. Captain Mitchell looked at her carefully, reading her face, understanding something important was happening here. Behind the desk? Yes, please. It's the only proof I have. He turned to his crew. Johnson, second floor, home office. Looking for a fireproof safe behind a desk. Possible evidence in an abuse case. Copy that, Captain. Officer Martinez stood next to Valerie. Ma'am, why did you hide evidence? Why didn't you come forward? Because he's a pediatric surgeon, Valerie said, tears streaming down her face. Who's going to believe a stay-at-home mom over a surgeon? He told me exactly that. He said if I ever tried to leave, tried to report him, he'd say I was unstable, postpartum depression, that I was the one hurting Emma, and everyone would believe him. She looked at me, at Wayne. I started documenting everything 3 weeks after Emma was born. Every time he hurt her, every time he hurt me. I'd photograph the bruises when he was at work. I'd write down what happened. I kept it all in that safe. I was gathering evidence, trying to build a case strong enough that they'd have to believe me. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. My voice cracked. Val, I'm your sister. I would have helped you. I was afraid, she whispered. Afraid he'd find out. Afraid he'd kill me before I could get Emma away from him. Afraid I'd lose her forever if I didn't have enough proof. Captain Mitchell stayed close, listening. His expression was hard. Ma'am, you said he set this fire? He must have, Valerie said. He knew. Once the hospital started examining Emma, once they called the police, he knew I'd tell them about the safe. So he called someone, had them start a fire before the police could get a search warrant. Ethan was still in the police car, handcuffed now, watching the house burn with cold eyes. Not panicked, not upset, just watching, like he was waiting to see if his plan worked. 10 minutes later, a firefighter emerged from the house, covered in soot, carrying something wrapped in a fire blanket. He walked straight to Captain Mitchell. Found it, Captain. Safe was behind the desk, like she said. Partially damaged from heat, but intact. Lock mechanism still works. Valerie collapsed to her knees, sobbing. Captain Mitchell knelt beside her. Ma'am, your evidence is safe. We got it out. The firefighter handed the safe to Officer Martinez. It was scorched, blackened, but whole. Can you open this? Officer Martinez asked Valerie. Valerie nodded. Her hands shook as she entered the combination. The safe opened. Inside were manila folders, photographs, USB drives, a journal. Officer Martinez pulled out the first folder, opened it. Her face went hard. She closed it quickly. This is evidence in a criminal case, she said. Dr. Kent, you have the right to remain silent. She finished reading Ethan his rights while another officer led him away. He didn't look at Valerie, didn't look at any of us, just stared straight ahead, that cold, empty expression, like he felt nothing at all. Captain Mitchell approached me and Wayne. Are you the family members who discovered the initial injuries? Yes, I said. Our daughter Nina found blood during a diaper change. We called 911 immediately. Your daughter has good instincts, Captain Mitchell said. How old is she? 6. He nodded slowly. 6 years old, and she saw something dozens of adults probably missed. Tell her she did a very brave thing today. We will, Wayne said. Thank you for recovering the evidence. If that safe had burned... It didn't, Captain Mitchell said simply. That's what matters. The fire was extinguished, smoke still rising, but no more flames. The office was destroyed, but the safe had been found in time. Ethan was taken to the station, charged with child abuse, domestic violence, and arson. The evidence in that safe was overwhelming. Photos of Emma's injuries going back weeks, photos of Valerie's bruises, medical records Ethan had falsified to cover his tracks, journal entries documenting every incident, everything Valerie had been too terrified to use. Until today. At the hospital, Emma was examined thoroughly, treated for her injuries. Child Protective Services got involved. Valerie was moved to a protective facility with Emma, somewhere Ethan couldn't find them. Wayne and I took Nina to visit them 3 days later. Emma was in a crib, sleeping peacefully, already looking healthier, color in her cheeks. Nina approached quietly, looked at her cousin through the crib bars. "Is baby Emma going to be okay?" "Yes," Valerie said. She knelt down to Nina's level. "Because of you. Because you were brave enough to tell your parents when you saw something wrong." "I was scared," Nina admitted. "Uncle Ethan seemed nice, but he hurt baby Emma." "Sometimes people who seem nice are actually dangerous," Valerie said gently. "And it's okay to be scared. But you told the truth anyway. That's real courage." Nina nodded seriously. "Baby Emma won't have to see scary Uncle Ethan anymore?" "Never again," Valerie said firmly. "I promise." Over the next few weeks, the case was built. The evidence from the safe was analyzed, witness statements were taken, medical experts examined Emma and confirmed the abuse. Ethan's lawyer tried to argue mental breakdown, stress from work, temporary insanity, but the evidence was too strong, too systematic, too calculated. He'd been hurting his daughter almost from the day she was born, hurting his wife for months before that. This wasn't a breakdown. It was who he was. The trial lasted 4 weeks. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Ethan was sentenced to 8 years in prison. His medical license was permanently revoked. He'd never practice medicine again. Never hurt another child under the guise of helping them. Valerie filed for divorce the day after the verdict. It was finalized within 2 months. She and Emma moved in with us temporarily while she got back on her feet. 9 months later, I'm sitting in our living room watching Mina play with Emma. Emma is 11 months old now, sitting up, babbling, reaching for toys, healthy, happy, thriving. Nina sits on the floor with her, showing her how to stack blocks. "Look, Emma, stack them up high." Emma knocks them over and giggles. That beautiful baby laugh. Valerie sits beside me on the couch. She's started working again, part-time at first, but building back her confidence. She's in therapy, processing everything, healing. "I should have told you sooner," she says quietly. "I should have trusted you." "You were in an impossible situation," I say. "You did what you thought you had to do to protect Emma, and when the time came, you had the evidence you needed." "If Nina hadn't noticed," Valerie starts. "But she did," Wayne says from the doorway. He's just gotten home from school. "She noticed. She spoke up. And because of that, Emma is safe." He walks over to Nina, puts his hand on her shoulder. "You know you're a hero, right?" Nina looks up at him. "I just told you what I saw." "Exactly," Wayne says. "You told the truth, even when it was scary. That's what heroes do." Emma reaches for Nina, makes grabbing motions with her little hands. Nina gently takes Emma's hand. "I'll always protect you, Emma. Always." And watching them, I know she will, because Nina has something rare, the ability to see when something's wrong and the courage to speak up about it, even when the adults around her miss it, even when it's scary, even when the person doing the harm seems trustworthy and kind. She sees the truth, and she tells it. That's the greatest gift we could ever teach her.
That was Claire Fowler. I'm Captain Dean Mitchell, Station 47. We got the call at 6:47 p.m. Structure fire at 428 Maple Grove Drive. Home office, second floor. Suspicious origin. When we arrived, a woman was trying to run toward the flames, desperate, screaming about documents that had to be saved. That woman was Valerie Kent, and those documents were the only proof she had that her husband, a respected pediatric surgeon, had been abusing their 2-month-old daughter for months. He'd set the fire to destroy the evidence, called someone while he was in police custody, probably thought he could erase what he'd done, start fresh, claim his wife was crazy, and there was no proof. But my crew found a fireproof safe in that office, partially damaged from heat, but intact. The lock mechanism still worked. Inside were photos, medical records, a journal, everything Valerie had been secretly documenting while living in terror. She'd been gathering evidence for months, too afraid to use it, married to a man who could convince anyone that bruises on a 2-month-old were accidents, a man whose medical degree was a shield. But a 6-year-old girl named Nina saw what adults missed. During a simple diaper change, blood and bruises that should never be on a baby. Nina didn't rationalize it, didn't make excuses, didn't convince herself it must be fine because Uncle Ethan was a doctor. She just said, something's wrong. And that saved a life. I've been doing this for 18 years. I've seen a lot of people hurt children, but the ones who get away with it the longest are the ones with authority. Doctors, teachers, coaches, people everyone trusts, because we want to believe that someone with credentials, someone respected in the community, couldn't possibly hurt a child. But credentials don't make someone good. A degree doesn't make someone safe. Authority doesn't equal morality. Sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones everyone believes, the ones who know exactly how to hurt someone without leaving obvious marks, the ones who can use their position to silence victims. Valerie knew her husband was hurting their baby, but she also knew no one would believe her over him. So she documented everything, built a case, waited for the right moment. That moment came because a 6-year-old girl saw the truth. Children see the world differently than we do. They haven't learned to make excuses yet, haven't learned to ignore their instincts, haven't learned that some people are too important to question. They just see what's in front of them. And if we're listening, they tell us. If a child tells you something feels wrong, listen. Really listen. Even if the person they're talking about seems perfect, even if everyone loves them, even if they have credentials and authority and respect. Because children see what we've learned not to see. And sometimes they're the only ones brave enough to speak the truth. I'm Captain Dean Mitchell, Station 47. Stay safe out there.